Looks like the Red Sox were pretty busy over these 24 hours, making some really interesting roster moves. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin. Before the Red Sox kick off their homestand against the Toronto Blue Jays tonight, the Red Sox shuffled up their roster a bit, making a pretty decent amount of roster moves. Technically, it's a total of 6, but it's really just 3 separate moves in general, and each one of them are pretty interesting in how they're going to impact this 2024 team. So what we are going to do in the second video today is break down the latest Red Sox roster moves, talk about what they mean for this team, and what they mean for the individual players. But before we get into that, again, just a heads up, the highlights are going to be all over the place in this video. It's just how MLB wants us to create content at this point, I guess, so bear with us here as we try and figure that out. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, the Red Sox made 3 roster moves right around 3 p.m. Eastern time this afternoon. The first of those 3 is actually a pretty simple one to talk about, and that is Connor Wong headed to the paternity leave list for the Boston Red Sox. First of all, a major congratulations to Wong and his family introducing a new child to the world and growing just a little bit. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is his first kid or not, but either way, a big congratulations to him. Now, for those of you who may not know, the paternity list in Major League Baseball is 3 days, which in my opinion is a little bit short, but either way, what that means for the Red Sox is that they are maximum going to be without Connor Wong for a Toronto Blue Jays series. That's about it, and then he has to come back and play again with this team, so not really going to have a major impact on the Boston Red Sox in terms of the season as a whole, but definitely going to have an impact on the Red Sox in the short term, because obviously, like we talked about this morning, Connor Wong was a big reason why the Boston Red Sox were able to beat the Cincinnati Reds this weekend and really wrap up a really strong road trip. So to lose Connor Wong right now, not exactly ideal, but what this is going to mean is that guys in this lineup like Tyler O'Neill, like Rob Refsnyder, like Romy Gonzalez are really going to have to step up and be that right-handed power bat that we had with Connor Wong in that last series. I do think Tyler O'Neill, Rob Refsnyder, and Romy Gonzalez are capable of doing that. It's just going to be on a bigger scale now that they have to make up the loss of Connor Wong. But again, this shouldn't be an impact on the rest of the 2024 season. Honestly, this might be a really good thing. We've talked about dad strength before on this channel. We've seen it before in Major League Baseball. Connor Wong's been absolutely killing it right now. I can't even imagine what he's going to look like with a little bit more dad strength in him. So overall, again, not a crazy move or anything like that. Now, the Red Sox did bring someone up in order to replace Connor Wong for the time being, and that was catcher Tyler Heineman. In my opinion, this will most likely be again, a very short stint with the Red Sox, but also probably an uneventful one. If I were to venture to guess, I would assume that for the next 3 days, Reese McGuire is just going to take over everyday catching duty, and Tyler Heineman sort of just becomes the backup defensive catcher role, right, in case of emergency break glass type bench piece, which is totally fine. He has a little bit of major league experience with the big league team, at least with the Boston Red Sox. He has 2 at-bats with 1 walk, so nothing super spectacular there. Again, we probably won't see a whole lot from him in this series, but I did want to give you guys a heads up that we are going to be missing Connor Wong for the next 3 days. However, this is just one of the 3 roster moves the Red Sox made, and to me, this one's the simplest one to talk about, so let's break down the other ones as well. However, before we get into those, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's break down the other 2. Okay, so the bigger moves, at least in my opinion, of today were that the Red Sox optioned both Cam Boozer and Brad Keller down to AAA Worcester. First of all, right off the bat here, I had no idea that Brad Keller had any options left. I just sort of assumed that in order to get rid of him, they would have to DFA him, but either way, they were both sent down to AAA Worcester, and in order to fill their spots, the second part of this is that the Red Sox recalled both Isaiah Campbell and Josh Winckowski to rejoin the big league club. Now, in terms of who is getting sent down, I actually am not super pumped about this Cam Boozer move. I kind of liked Cam Boozer on the big league roster. He wasn't anything incredible at the big league level, but he was doing a pretty solid job. In fact, he had a 3.21 ERA in 28 innings with an even lower 2.82 FIP, so he was getting a bit lucky on the mound there for a 1.33 ERA plus. I honestly think what it came down to for Cam Boozer was, one, he was not the main lefty in the Red Sox bullpen, right? They've got bullpen ace Brendan Bernardino for high leverage lefty situations. Cam Boozer's role was more so the guy setting up human victory cigar or the guy setting up the human white flag. That's just sort of who he was. He did a good job at it, but that was just sort of his role. And the other part of this too, well, actually, I think there are two more parts to this. The first one is that he had options, right? I think of guys who had options in the Red Sox bullpen, you didn't want to get rid of really anyone else. You had Zach Kelly who had options. You really want to hold on to him. Bernardino had options. Again, another guy you really want to hold on to. So it was just a sort of matter of, hey, who's got options? And then the other part of this is that he also pitched a pretty decent amount on this road trip. I think the Red Sox are just looking to get some fresh arms into the bullpen, and Cam Boozer ended up on the unlucky part of that. I do, however, believe that he will be back in the major league level at some point this season, and he'll continue to make an impact with the big league club. I don't know if this will be a super extended long period stay with the Worcester Red Sox. I think what that's going to end up depending on is the guys that came up to replace him. How are they doing, and how are the Red Sox staying healthy? But either way, I don't think this is the last we are going to see of Cam Boozer. The other one, in my opinion, I am happy about. Brad Keller, at least from my point of view, really wasn't doing anything for this Red Sox roster, and the fact that you already had Chase Anderson in the bullpen as your sort of bulk inning white flag cigar, victory cigar type reliever kind of made Brad Keller a bit redundant. It's not like he was doing a stellar job either. So far this season, he had a 5.40 ERA, but his FIP was much lower at 3.69, so a whole lot of unluckiness there, to be honest with you. Still, he was giving up a lot of traffic with a 1.380 whip, and again, with Chase Anderson in the bullpen, it just felt redundant. It felt like Brad Keller really wasn't finding his place in the Red Sox bullpen. It makes a whole lot of sense with the Red Sox sort of down a starting pitcher right now that they'd want to get someone up here who could be a bit more effective in bulk innings. So if we take a look at the guys who ended up being sent down, one of them I don't really love, but I understand why the Red Sox may have made this move. The other one I totally understand. I think it was and will end up being the right call to change out here Brad Keller for someone else in the bullpen. However, the two guys coming up should be able to make an impact with this team. Looking at the first person here, Isaiah Campbell, since coming back from injury and being optioned down to the Worcester Red Sox, he's been pretty solid. He has a 2.19 ERA in AAA over 12 and a third innings pitched. He also has 18 strikeouts to 3 walks. That's a really great walk to strikeout ratio and a 0.97 whip, meaning less than one batter is reaching base every inning he pitches. That's a really good sign. On top of that, he's holding opponents to just a 191 average. We sort of saw at the beginning of the year what Isaiah Campbell could look like at the big league level in terms of what his potential effectiveness could be. Obviously, that fell off quite a bit over the next couple of weeks, right? It was sort of the first 3 weeks of the season. You were like, all right, Isaiah Campbell could be a guy. And then immediately it was like, well, there might be some work left to do with Isaiah Campbell. If he was able to in AAA, one, get fully healthy, which was a problem that he had been dealing with for a little bit, and two, work on his mechanics, work on his pitch shapes, this could be a really important piece for the Red Sox going forward. We talked about at the beginning of the season how a lot of people felt like Isaiah Campbell was sort of part of the future of this lockdown Red Sox bullpen that they were trying to build. I think he could still be that guy. He just needed to get right, and I'm hoping what we're seeing in AAA right now is something he's able to translate well in Major League Baseball, because if he is able to do that, I think there is a spot for him to cement himself a real long stay at the big league level. The same thing can kind of be said for Josh Winckowski, right? He was struggling a bit, at least compared to 2023 when he got sent down in mid-May. The Red Sox really wanted to work with him in order to try and start starting games at the AAA level, as well as work on some of his pitch shapes and mechanics. And it's kind of worked out pretty well for Josh Winckowski in AAA, because right now he's boasting a 2.87 ERA in 31 and 1/3 innings, 6 starts, 7 appearances. He struck out 28 batters, which is 21% of the batters he's faced, and he's walked 6, which is 4.3% of the batters he's faced. I'm really curious as to what role Josh Winckowski is going to hold with this Red Sox team now that he's back up here. One of the options is in sort of that Brad Keller-esque role where he becomes a bulk inning reliever. Maybe not so much as a Chase Anderson type bulk inning reliever, but a one that you really want to put into, hey, our starter only gave us 3 1/3 innings. We really need to lock this game down, get in there and give us 2-3 innings. That could be one way they go about with Josh Winckowski, but with the Red Sox rotation missing a player right now and it's sort of not working out, we talked about it a little bit ago. The Cooper Criswell demotion was a smart move on paper, but if it didn't work out, it was going to end up being risky. Well, it ended up not working out, so I'm curious if the Red Sox end up using Josh Winckowski in a Cooper Criswell-esque role, right, where he ends up being a starter, but a starter that maximum goes 5 innings, more realistically goes 4.5 innings to get you to the bullpen and get you sort of midway through this game, hopefully still competitive in this game, while also not really being a true starter in Major League Baseball. I think that might be the direction the Red Sox go because it just makes a lot of sense with how this rotation is structured. It would also give the Red Sox rotation a bit of a breather here with an off day on Thursday. You have the ability to start Josh Winckowski in one of these games and push the rest of your rotation back a day, giving them an extra day of rest, which could be pretty huge going towards the second half of the season. So overall, when we talk about the additions to this team with the guys who got sent down, I like it a lot. Again, I think there's potential here with both of these players, and I hope that their time in AAA was enough to basically get them back to what we know they can be at the Major League level. Overall, taking a look at these moves as a whole, I think Brad Keller was absolutely the right decision. I don't need to go into that again. I think Wink clearly has the higher ceiling here, and I think it could be more effective than Keller at the big league level. Again, I'm not ecstatic about sending down Cam Boozer, but I understand the reasoning behind it. And again, I do think Isaiah Campbell could be an effective member of this Red Sox bullpen. And finally, I don't really think there's anything much else to say about Connor Wong. It's not going to be a huge impact roster move that's going to happen for a pretty long period of time. They'll probably switch Heineman and Wong out going into the Padres series. So the only thing I have to say there is congratulations, Wong. Your family's growing a little bit, and that's a really awesome thing. But those are just my opinions on these. So let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think? What did you think about these roster moves? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you think they should have gone a different direction? Or are you fully on board with what the Red Sox did? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox news in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on these videos as well. Just helps these videos out a ton, mean a lot to me, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying this content. Don't forget, you can always get these episodes available anywhere you get podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, which the links to those are in my description, or head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you once again in the Red Seats.